I think I said I'll start it at 10:10, so give it 5 minutes. Even though I don't think anyone's up and watching the stream. Actually, I can just check. Yeah, there's nobody watching. So we have some white space, so I will go. If you're new to the group, got a couple new joins the past couple days. Hold on, let me make sure this is coming through fine. Is it good? No drop frames. Okay, yeah, stream looks fine. I can't tell from the preview whether everything looks good. But from OBS Studio looks good. So anyway, in a nutshell, if you haven't been to the group or you're new to the group, there's the guides right here. So if you go into the guides, they're ordered in they're ordered how you should take them. So getting started, learn to 3D print, first video, getting started, selecting 3D models to sell on Etsy, which I had just put up today. I don't know why that says it's a link when that's text. Maybe I can get rid of the link. Or I can change the type. Post topics. Oh, that's new. Anyway, I'm just killing time till we hit 10:10. But this is what the video is on today. So selecting 3D models to sell on Etsy. I don't know how. Maybe if I edit it. Oh, wait, shoot. I can just get rid of the links and it'll convert to a text. Not that it matters. I'm splitting hairs about nothing. Let me check. But anyway, yeah, so I'm scatterbrained this morning, and I just started my coffee, so you're going to have to forgive me. And I can kick on a stream later. Like, advertise it well in advance if anyone has questions they want to ask. But, so we'll be going over selecting 3D models to sell on Etsy. What's pretty neat is about this is Facebook keeps track of what you've completed. So if you're ever wondering what you didn't do, you just go to the guide section and see where you left off. I haven't done any of them or marked any as complete. So this is where we're at now. We're on number 5. Number 4 I just uploaded this morning. And next we'll be moving on to starting your Etsy shop. So I'll be going into some like tips or tricks on how to really kickstart your Etsy shop and try to get to $1,000 of the target goal. The thing we always shop for before, when this was a massive effort, was to get to the point where it was, well, actually, let me just wait one more minute because I saw 2 people just jumped on. So I'll give it another 2 minutes. Before I start diving in. And anytime, if anyone's watching, if you have any questions about anything in the world, fire away. I'll answer them to the best of my ability, or I'll try to find an answer later. It's been so long since I've streamed to YouTube that I had to like relearn how to do it. It's such a pain. It's not as easy as Twitch is. But yeah, just another minute. We'll get started. I didn't even realize we had 38 people in this group. All right, so it's 10:10. We'll start here, and then later I'll maybe edit the first 10 minutes of this video out to make it watchable on YouTube. So if you're here, this is a video that's going along with a bunch of guides on the Chris Elkins 3D Printing for Profit group, which is just a small group that I spun up to help some friends and friends of friends like get started 3D printing for dinero. And it primarily focuses on selling on Etsy, but you can take the principles and you can sell on Amazon. I know a couple people that are doing really good with that, and they're doing the Fulfilled by Amazon to take a lot of the work out. And that also seems, you know what, that's actually something that I've been considering trying, because I like the fact that I can pre-do all my work, ship to Amazon, and let Fulfilled by Amazon handle it. So more to follow on that. I've been contemplating jumping back into the game, but maybe not Etsy, even though Etsy is a great way to jump in. You can still make a lot of money. The system still works. I've ran people through recently that have been successful. So if you follow the formula, you're going to make money. It's that simple. Not everyone follows the formula. Some people think they follow the formula and they don't, and they don't make money. But if you follow the formula and ask questions, I'm here to help. I guarantee you'll make money, without a doubt, 100%. And the investment is minimal. You can start with one printer, a Creality Ender 3, as I laid out in the previous guide and videos, and a little bit of filament to start, and then you can let your business purchase the rest of your printers. So your out-of-pocket expenses, let's call it 300. You can really get rocking and rolling on a $300 investment. So we have the group. You land on the discussion page, and the meat of the group is in the guide section. So that's where I've been trying to organize all these. Facebook keeps track of if you've completed the guide. You can see where you're at in the progress. So we've done getting started, what you'll need, learning to 3D print, the hardest part of this process. And then we had a video that went along with that, getting started. And then I just put a new module up this morning, a text module selecting 3D models to sell on Etsy. And this is the video that's going to go along with that, which will be a lot more practical and in depth. So I think they both complement each other. But if you watch the video, I don't know if you would necessarily need to read the module. So it's kind of like but if you read the module, you should watch the video. So that's it in a nutshell. So yeah, let's say right now at this point in your, I'm going to make money selling stuff on Etsy. You've got your printer, you're starting to learn how to print, or you already know how to print, and now you want to move on to picking what models that you want. So this it's primarily focused using Thingiverse to select models, even though I'm going to pull up the guide too to make sure I don't miss anything. Because like I said, I'm scatterbrained. All right, so yeah, so we're gonna use Thingiverse as the backbone for this, but year over year, Thingiverse becomes less relevant. Thingiverse used to be the central repository where everybody that designed models and wanted to share it with people, they posted it on Thingiverse, and Thingiverse is still a super active community. But I think maybe in the next few years, we're going to see Thingiverse not become the #1 spot. At #1, it's a shitty website. I don't like it. It's laid out terrible. I think it's slow. They just got hacked, and they didn't even announce to everyone that all their data was leaked. So I'm just not a fan of Thingiverse. But right now, it still seems to have the most amount of models. So some of the models that you can find. Hold on one second. I'm pulling something up on my other screen to help me remember where I'm at. Okay, so some other places you can find models are Yegi. Yegi is a meta search where it'll search Thingiverse. It'll search a lot of other popular repository sites. I use Yegi the most outside of Thingiverse. When I'm trying to look for something specific, like let's say I'm trying to find like for example, Squid Game. I had to find a squid mask for my son because my son and my wife messed up and they ordered a costume for his Halloween stuff tomorrow and a squid costume, and it didn't come with a mask. Hold on one second. So it was my wife trying to feed me. So I'd go here and Squid Game or Squid Mask. Let's say Squid Mask, and then you're gonna get links to not just Thingiverse, but to any repository out there, and then you can click through. STL Finder is another one that searches across a bunch of websites. Prusa Printers has now created their own version of Thingiverse, and I think this is the one that everyone will eventually gravitate to, and it will become the top contender just because Prusa has a lot of name recognition in the community. So I really think that this one right here will be the one that everyone moves to. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. My Mini Factory is another one. There's a lot of paid models on My Mini Factory. Colts 3D is another one where I found a lot of good models. Tinkercad is not a place where you find models, but I'll go into this in a little bit later. But Tinkercad is a great, easy way to start doing or designing your own models. Tinkercad is like the kindergarten version of CAD, but it's pretty easy to use. It's web-based, and I've done a lot of good stuff with Tinkercad. But anyway, back on topic. So we're going to just use Thingiverse for this video and this lesson, but just know that you can take the principles from Thingiverse and you can move them to any one of the model repositories and use that to select models. Now, the first thing in selecting, so there's basically two when you're for this. Okay, so this is half specific to Etsy. Well, not half. So there's two tenets really for selecting models. One of them is very specific to, or not specific to Etsy. So the first tenet is the Creative Commons license. So whenever a creator uploads a model to Thingiverse, or let's say like My Mini Factory or Colts 3D, they have to select a Creative Commons license on how people can use the model. Creative Commons is not just using 3D models, it's using photography, it's using a lot of things. It's a licensing scheme. I don't know if that's the right word, scheme or format or framework that creators can select how people can use what they created. So let's look at this one and let's see. So here is the license details. It's got a Creative Commons license, as you see by the CC. So here's the main part. This model right here they selected no commercial. So basically they are saying you cannot print and sell this model. You can't do anything. You can't make any monetary gain with this model. Okay, so we're trying to find models that do allow monetary use. Let's just randomly pick something in here. Let's geared smartphone holder. So this one does allow monetary use. There's that no commercial license is not selected. So I'm almost pretty positive. It's been a while since I uploaded something, but by default, every time you upload a model and you do the default package of Creative Commons licensing, it allows commercial use. So you have to specifically go into the model and select no commercial in order to make it so that people can't sell that model. So that's lesson number one. We want models, or that's the first real tenet of selecting model, is that we want models that allow commercial use. Now, there's a couple things that you can do if a model doesn't allow commercial use. One is you can, and I think I talk about this in the module I just posted, you can trace back. There's things called derivatives. So we'll take this T-Rex shower head. It's a perfect example. So this T-Rex shower head creator has selected the no commercial use identifier or tag or stipulation, or I don't know what the right word for it is. I'll just say tag. They created they added the no or stipulation, the no commercial stipulation to the license. But this model was created as a derivative or a remix of two other models. They didn't. This isn't an original work. Some guy just took two models and mashed them up together and put it up here. So they have to follow the licensing scheme. They can't further restrict from where it came from. So when you look at this T-Rex skull right here, we have to go and look at that license. Well, the T-Rex skull allows commercial use. Then let's go and check out the other one, the Vortex shower head. Well, how about that? The Vortex shower head also allows commercial use. So this creator of the T-Rex shower head that mashed up these two models to create this incorrectly selected that no commercial license. And it's funny because when you go in the comments, you actually see people fighting about that. They're like, "Oh, there's people selling your T-Rex shower head on Etsy," and then other people are pointing out that it's a derivative of two commercially allowed models, and the creator didn't have the legal right to select the no commercial. So yeah, now we get into like people's moral compass and gray zones, because like there's a lot of people in the 3D printing community that think even if commercial use checked is allowed, that it's a scumbag thing to do to sell their model. I don't believe that. If the creator had wanted to do no commercial use allowed, they would have selected it. So using a model in line with how a creator selected the model's use, I have no problem with that. Hey, JMD or JDM Raw, what's going on, man? I'll see you tomorrow. It's newest Padawan. So yeah, let's for the sake of this, I'll say everyone can do whatever they like you're personally comfortable with, but if a commercial use is allowed, I'll sell it all day long. I do not care, because that's what the license that the creator gave it. Now here's another lesson. It just happens that Halo Master Chief is just popped up. So let's look at this Halo Master Chief shower head. And this creator also selected no commercial use. Well, guess what? The Halo Master Chief is intellectual property of Bungie, I believe. So this person, Darth X Rinsler, doesn't even have the right to give this a Creative Commons license, because they don't own the rights to Master Chief. So if you felt like you wanted to sell this, my take is this guy violated someone else's IP. So, if you want to sell it, go ahead and sell it. Just know that when you sell stuff on Etsy, you may get cease and desist notice from intellectual property holders. So it's after a certain amount of those hits, Etsy could delete your shop. I got quite a few of them myself. One or two was because I used the word Lego in my ads, because I was selling some Lego themed stuff, and Lego hit me up and was like, "We don't allow this. You should have said building bricks." I don't know. They sent me like this long sort of email about why I couldn't use the trademark name Lego, and I had to say building bricks and not call the brand out. I've gotten some from Activision for selling Overwatch loot boxes, which is owned by Blizzard, which is owned by Activision. So I would say, like, when you start getting into intellectual property, just know that like a lot of IP holders are all about people like doing stuff on Etsy with their IP, because they just see it as more brand recognition, and a lot of IP holders aggressively defend their intellectual property. But I do know that when I see someone else that created a model of someone else's intellectual property. Just know that they don't have the right to even give this a Creative Commons license because they're not the IP holder. And then the sort of with no commercial uses, let's say that I found a model. It's not someone else's IP. It's like this is someone else's IP right here. It's Squirtle. But let's say I like let's pick something. I don't know why I'm. Let's go to this hex bit storage box. This is pretty cool. I got fucking fudge and hex bits all over the place. So I see that they have selected the no commercial use. What you can do is you can contact this creator and reach out on him. You can message him and you can say, hey, Leo, I really want to sell your hex bit storage box on my Etsy store. How about that? And then you can cut a deal with him on selling his model. I will tell you that I've done that many times, and I never approach with a price. I just tell them I'm interested in selling on my Etsy shop and asking them if it's all right. And a lot of times they just came back and said, yeah, thanks for reaching out. They were just happy that someone had asked them if it was okay to sell their model on Etsy. So they just said yes. And in that case, I never agreed to any kind of price. But what I would do is if I had good sales, I would tip them. I would just randomly send them 100, 200, 300 bucks, thanking them for the model based on sales. Sometimes it wasn't a lot. Sometimes it was a lot. I don't know. It all depended on how crazy I was selling that model. So that's an option. You can reach out. Once again, I think I put this into the actual written guide, but when I reach out, I never ever like lead with a price or that I'm trying to pay. I just say, hey, I'm interested in selling your model on my Etsy shop, and I wanted to contact you first and discuss that, or however I worded the email. Maybe I'll dig one up and find one of the or I'll go through my account. I'm sure all my messages are still in my account, and I'll like post an example into the Facebook group of what that message looked like. But yeah, I as far as I remember, a lot of the times right away they were just happy that you reached out. So, give that a try. The third option is like using this as an example. Let's say it's no commercial use. You reached out to the creator and you wanted to know if you could sell it, and they were just like, absolutely not. I refuse to let you sell my hexbit storage box on Etsy. Well, what you can do is you can find yourself a 3D designer. In this, it would be a CAD designer because this is more of a technical product. But if it was something that was like organic modeling based, you could find an organic modeler to do the model for you, and then you can make your own version of this. You can just like send pictures of this to that person and say, I would like my own version of that. I used a guy on Fiverr that was really good. I think he was based out of Russia. Who knows with Fiverr, but 3D modeling, and I think I paid this guy for most everything. It was like $25, and he did good work. And he did multiple revisions after I printed it out, and something wouldn't work. And I think the guy I used sort of outsourced to India or something. I don't think he was the one making it, but anyway, I'll find the Fiverr that I use the most, and I'll put that into the Facebook group. But yeah, I paid $25, so I had a couple things done by him. I had well, I can't remember off the top of my head. I'll try to find it. But anyway, I will find the Fiverr guy that I used, and I'll post it into the Facebook group because he did good work and it was cheap. So yeah, like $25, and I think like one time I did like 3 or 4 revisions. So it was a smashing good deal. Or there's even guys in the Facebook group that design. I know like John Domert, one of the Padawans I had that is now definitely not a Padawan. He's selling quite a bit on Etsy, and he's probably getting swamped for the holiday season. He's an amazing designer. He he does some really good stuff. So maybe he has the bandwidth because he enjoys doing it too. So maybe he has the bandwidth to take on a project to be compensated for a design. And there may be more of those types in the group in the future. But yeah, so just to recap, you want the model to have no commercial. If it has commercial, you can trace back to see if it was remixed from two different models or one model remix that also was no commercial. And trace that back, or you can reach out to ask to sell, or you can just design your own version of it. Or you can pay somebody to design your own version of the model. So yeah, that's big tenet number one is the commercial, no commercial. The second one, and this is the one that in my experience, like I don't know how long I taught people to do this. For like a year, I think I taught people. I was actively teaching people when we had the giant Facebook group with like 10,000 people in it. This is what was the hardest thing for people to learn is to sell to market. So what does sell to market mean? Well, Etsy, your market, my opinion is middle to upper class women. That's seem to be most of my customers. I think maybe after thousands and thousands of sales on Etsy, I can probably count the amount of dudes that bought stuff on my hands and toes. It's middle to upper class women, maybe lower to upper class women. I don't know how Etsy's evolved, but they always seem to be middle to upper class women as the demographic. So when I would cruise through it, and when I started selling stuff on Etsy, this is all I did. I would sort by popular all time. And in a later video, I'm going to get into actually doing targeted searches off of keywords. I got to see if maybe like Charlie Bravo will let me borrow his Etsy rank account because I don't have an Etsy rank account anymore. And I can show you how to do keyword search because that's going to come up in an upcoming video. But now, like, I'll show you an easy way. I would sort by popular all time. You can sort this down by specific areas if you want to like let's say fashion accessories or something. If you're specifically targeting women, you can go into like a certain area. But I would just go to all time. Yeah, Squid Game, Chibi Soldiers for the win. I guarantee the Squid Game shit is gonna sell like hotcakes for as long as that is going on. Not to get too diverted, but it was like every time Game of Thrones was on TV, I sold this Hodor door holder. It might even be on here. Hold the door. Not this one, but I sold a version of a hold the door holder, and I mean that thing sold like crazy every time Game of Thrones was actively on. So yeah, Squid Game, guaranteed. But anyway, back to this sort by popular all time, and then I would just search and put myself in the mindset of a middle to upper class woman. And oh, look how cute mini octopus. I guarantee there's people selling this all over Etsy. No commercial use allowed. But if I thought there was a market for this, I might contact and be like, hey, I wanna sell your product on my Etsy shop or your 3D model. Look, Chibi Squid Game. Even though on FDM printers, I think this will print like shit. You would need a resin printer for this, but Chibi Squid Game. Now, here's the funny thing. Look, no commercial allowed. Me personally, I would completely ignore no commercial allowed because this dude does not own the IP to this, so he can't even give it a Creative Commons license. Once again, that is a decision that each person has to make on where your sort of left and right limits are on your. This one allows commercial use, even though they can't even give it that license. But yeah, that's the Squid Game giant doll. I guarantee this would sell right now. Anything Squid Game, I think would be a good seller right now. I would roll the dice with Squid Game related stuff. Here's a hedgehog planner. This is really cute. Planners is a tough market on Etsy, but I think, look, this allows commercial use. And one thing I forgot to say is Part of the Creative Commons licensing is you have to attribute it. So when you they used to have a little easy to cut and paste thing. But anyway, in your ads on Etsy, you have to attribute back to the original designer. They used to have a really easy to copy and paste thing, but I don't see it anymore. So you would just have to link like thank you to this guy or gal for providing this model, and you would have to link on your Etsy shop. No, JDM Raw, the CR10 will definitely make the chibi, and you can even get smaller detail nozzles to do it. But it's going to take forever to print because you're going to have to print that at 0.1. If you're using a 0.4 millimeter nozzle, you're going to have to print that at zero point 0.1 quality, and it'll take forever, and it just won't be as good as resin. It'll look okay, but I wouldn't do it. So once again, when I approach, this is something I've talked to you about, Josh. When I approach selling on Etsy, I approach it surely like a business, not what I like to print, not what I think is cool, because I definitely think the little chibi dude is cool as hell. But I would look at this with my FDM printers and be like, well, it's going to take this long to print, and how much could I sell it for, and how much profit could I squeeze out? So, me personally, I would not, I would not pick this to sell on my Etsy shop because I don't think the juice might be worth the squeeze for what I could get for it. With all these little folds and how you have to print this, the details, and you'll see as you learn. Yeah, self one, I would print it for myself for sure. Like I would put that at like 0.5 layer quality, or maybe put a very fine nozzle on and print that for myself. I've done plenty of that, but not for selling. This one I might sell, depending on how long it took to print and what you could sell this giant game doll for. Because if you printed this big on the CR10, with a lot of, there are not a lot of fine details on this. Depending on after I put it on a build plate and what it looked like, I might do that if you could squeeze enough profit out of it. But let's go back to popular all time. So I cruise popular all time. Here's one, for example, like this stackable battery holder. This was one that I thought would sell really good. I thought, man, this would be really functional. I printed one for myself. I loved it. I printed a whole bunch for all the different ones. And I thought this was a hit. And I put it on my Etsy shop, and I didn't sell one. And no matter how I priced it, it didn't sell. So that's sometimes you don't always get the winners. I'm trying to run across one I did sell. I sold a metric ton of baby Groots, but this is one that constantly I got a cease and desist over. I would sell them locally on Facebook groups like crazy. So baby Groot, that's one everyone loved. Let's see if I can find one. Just looking through. Let's say I'm trying to stand up my own Etsy shop, and I'm trying to find stuff to sell. So Baby Yoda sold like hotcakes. I never sold them, but I saw a lot of Etsy shops selling Baby Yodas like gangbusters. So something Baby Yoda related. Flying sea turtle looks a little too complex. I would personally skip this. These are cool. I've actually printed these. My kid almost blinded my wife with one. He shot her with some like little stone or something. Hit her right in the eye from across the room. She's quite upset. I actually have one of these on my gate. Yeah, like this is one I might roll the dice on. This elephant trainer, and it's commercially loud. So right here, I would put this on my Etsy shop for sure. So here's one, commercially loud, boom. And what would I sell it for? I'd probably sell this thing for, I'd start at $20. I think the profit margin on this would be huge. I think like maybe $19.95 would work great. Squishy turtles. Never had any real luck with stuff like that. These ocarinas are fun. I never printed these, but I did see another 3D printed shop that I was in stiff competition with that did a version of this like articulated lizard or gecko, and they sold them pretty good. And later in a video, I'll gonna go over like how to reverse engineer another shop sales so you can see like what's selling. Derp derp. I'm not seeing. I did see someone selling these fish fossils, and they seem to sell quite a bit of them. I never really got into that kind of stuff. What is this guy? But anyway, I think you guys get the drill. I sold a bunch of these. I think maybe. See, and they have the no commercial, but guess what? They don't own Bulbasaur, so they can't say no commercial. So I sold a ton of Bulbasaur. I think like $4,000 or $5,000 worth. Bulbasaur was a hot seller. All right, so I think we've beat that donkey to death. Let me scroll down. So we got okay. So going back. So to recap on that main point I was trying to make is you know is sell to market. The market is middle to upper class women. I had an anecdote about a guy when I was teaching many people how to do this. The anecdote was he hit me up. He was pretty upset. He had followed everything. He had a fully stocked Etsy store, he told me, and he had done everything that I had told him to do throughout every step. And he's like, why is my Etsy shop not selling anything? I didn't sell nothing. And I was like, well, I mean, I knew up to that point. There's always a reason why. And it's usually pretty apparent right away that they didn't follow some part of the formula. So, as soon as he gave me the link to his Etsy shop and I I went there. His whole shop was full of like fart joke type shit, all like toilet humor type stuff. It was just like knickknacks that maybe like your average 40-year-old trucker might enjoy. I mean, I like good toilet humor too, so I won't stereotype say 40-year-old trucker, but not what you want to be selling on Etsy. There was nothing on there that I think that anyone on Etsy would be interested in, and obviously by his sales, that was the case. Josh just said anxiety getting a shit ton of orders and shipping on time. I bet I would screw me. The thing is, you'll scale to belay that concern. Yes, there will be a point where if you follow this formula, you will start getting inundated with orders. The good thing for you is you are near a micro center and you can just drive north and get a $180 printer like that will pay itself off probably within that week if you're getting orders at that rate that you have to get a new printer. So in my case, when I started, little anecdotal evidence or little anecdotal story, when I started, my wife didn't want me using any of our money to do this. So all I got was I got a printer for Christmas because that's what I wanted for Christmas. The rest was on me. So I literally was sleeping by the printer and changing prints because I mean, we had made an agreement. I wasn't going to put any more of our money into this business than I had already had, which was a couple rolls of filament and this. So I was literally driving to Micro Center like every day to get a different color because I put all the colors that I could on the shop, but I didn't actually stop those colors. So if someone would order a color of something I didn't have, I'd have to drive to Micro Center. The good thing is all those drives were tax deductible, which I think the mileage that year took like 4,000, gave me like an extra 3,000 on my taxes. It was pretty crazy. But yeah, that's a valid concern. You have to scale your printers with your orders. I know John, my friend John, he had the same problem. He was like getting really busy, and then he was like, "Oh shit, it's time to whip out the credit card." I mean, if you're always gonna make your money back, so if you have a understanding spouse or you don't have a spouse and you have the funds or you can front load it on a credit card, scaling the business up is no problem because as soon as you see your orders picking up like that, you could literally you could run, if you were in that case, you could run to Micro Center and you could get two. So two Creality Ender 3 Pros are like $189 and then you can meet that demand because you don't I think I addressed this in one of the earlier modules, but like I used to start off with all the big printers, and really only 1 out of 50 prints needed to be on the big printer. Everything else went on the smaller printer. So like as you scale your business up, you don't want to be getting all like CR10s because it's just going to take up space and you're mostly going to print smaller stuff. All right, so sorry I got sidetracked. So anyway, yeah, his whole store was full of nothing but toilet humor type stuff. Nothing that a lady I think would want to buy. And by his sales, they weren't wanting to buy it. This is how I started. I just went through Thingiverse. I actually had female relatives of mine, and I put them on Thingiverse, and I was like, I asked these female relatives of mine to cruise Thingiverse and tell me what stood out to them. So you can also do that. Low poly Bulbasaur. I sold a ton of these, probably like $3,000 or $4,000 worth of these low poly Bulbasaur printers. Yeah, so Josh said, unless I wanted to print Star Wars armor a lot faster, that's true, but I would say that's a separate thing from your business. So if you're trying to do that for your personal stuff, yeah, you'll need a lot more CR10s. But for your business, I would scale up with Ender 3 Pros. They're cheap, they print great, and but for your personal stuff, and see, that's where, like someone like you, Josh, that wants to like do the armor and the props, I think you're going to have a difficult time separating your personal interests, because if your shop starts getting popular and you're making money, you're going to have to scale up to meet both your personal needs and your professional or your business needs. Because my business needs were always like, I was always at the max amount of printers that I needed. I never really had capacity to print anything personal. And I think maybe that's why I started to despise 3D printing after like a year, because I was just so busy doing it for Etsy. I never printed anything for myself at that. It had been months I hadn't printed a single thing for myself. So yeah, there was that. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. I was just approving a friend of mine's wife to get into the group. Welcome to the group if you're watching. So yeah, let me see where I left off. Contact the creator, Salmata. I went over that. Odds are heavily in favor of the pen. Okay, so we're at the pupil thing. So yeah, to beat the drum one last time, sell to market. The market is middle to upper class women. That could be debatable, but that's was always like the sort of guiding principle I got. And yeah, just search Etsy and utilize your intuition, or talk to family members or female family members if you're a dude and you just can't get yourself in the mindset of what a middle to upper class woman would be interested in purchasing, and then get in that mindset and cruise. If you have specific stuff in mind, like I said, you can go to Yegi or Stl Finder or some of the other ones that I highlighted earlier, and you can do specific searches. What I will go into a future video, so after this, I pretty much wrap this up. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to hit me up, and I'll just do like these random streams so people can ask questions, sort of in real time. But in a future video, I think next I'm going to go into how to set up your Etsy shop for success, which will basically entail not really the nuts and bolts. It's pretty easy to go on Etsy and set up a shop, but the things you have to pay attention to make your shop look presentable and attractive, and how to get your first 10 orders under your belt and get reviews, because you'll never sell to, I would say, your average Etsy user that's browsing, unless you have some reviews under your belt. They'll just ignore your shop and go to the next one. So how to set up your shop, and before you start selling en masse, how to get reviews, and then how to populate your shop, and what the sort of the technique is for that, and how to mess with the Etsy search algorithm. So there's a lot of keyword stuff that you can do to manipulate the Etsy algorithm and get yourself on the first page where all the magic happens, and in turn, how to mine Etsy for keywords using a tool such as, this used to be my favorite. I don't know if anything has eclipsed, but etsyrank.com. Now it's called erank.com. This used to be my favorite. I think my friend Charlie's got an account. Maybe he'll let me borrow it so I can use it to make the video. But how to use targeted keyword searches based on what's selling hot on Etsy, an algorithm to then go back and be like, like Blue Toaster. Let's say that Blue Toaster is, this is a stupid example, but let's say, let's say, okay, Squid. Let's say Squid Game is like the number one trending topic on thing, and you go to Squid Game and then see what's available under what we just taught to print and sell. So yeah, I'll check in with Charlie or John, my friend John, and see if he's got an Etsy rank account that I can borrow. If not, maybe I'll just do a 1 month trial, or I'll pay for a month just so I can do the video. But you'll have a lot of success if you do targeted keyword searches for models based on what's currently selling, or what keywords are hot based on products that are selling on Etsy. Like, and they're seasonal, they're cyclical. But yeah, like that's how I found a lot of Game of Thrones stuff, because the keywords that were really popular on Etsy was all Game of Thrones related at the time where I was really hot and integrated into my Etsy shop. Like these masks, I'm sure these masks sold gangbuster for Halloween, since Amazon only had really cheap ones. I'm actually printing one for my kid right now because his costume didn't come with a mask. So yeah, that would sort of wrap up this one. It's not a hard concept how to find models. The hard part is actually getting in there, and I think I even put a homework assignment. Yeah, homework, go to Thingiverse and select at least 20 models that you think would be good sellers on Etsy to prep for your soon-to-be Etsy shop stock, because this ties into a later module that I'll do, but I think that you should have 20 to 30 models already identified and printed and ready to go for when you start stocking your Etsy shop, so that you can have a very good start with a sort of stock shop for success. So yeah, that's kind of the homework. Get on Thingiverse or some of the other ones like Stl Finder and Yegi. If you have something in mind and you want to do targeted searches, you can do that. My Mini Factory, Colts 3D, Tinkercad. That's just for designing. And yeah, find 20. If you're really motivated, find 30. That'll get you a good start. If you wonder if those are good choices, please jump into the Facebook group and say, how about this one? Is this one good? Or if you don't feel comfortable doing that because you think someone will steal your great idea, you can just hit me in a private message on the Facebook group. That's fine. Or I mean, not Facebook group, but Facebook. Yeah, it's more than fine. I'll tell you what I think based on the experience that I had. But there's other current people that are very successful on Etsy in our group. I think one's over 200,000 a year right now. He's well over that 6-figure range. He actually quit his job and he does it full time now. So that's it in a nutshell. I can't think of anything else I missed for this. But as always, if you have questions, hit it up in the Facebook group. Let me just gather my thoughts for a second and see if I missed anything. Yeah, that's all I can think of. Unless you guys have any questions, that'll kind of wrap it up for this one. All right, cool. Well, thanks for hanging out. We'll call this one a wrap, and then I'll post a link to it for module number 5. Thanks for stopping by, everybody. Have a good weekend.